Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized to you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situation change? Hi, I'm Jerry Mangona, your Edward Jones financial advisor. I live here in Corktown, just a few blocks from the Daily Detroit studios, and when we work together, we'll focus on what's important to you. We'll use an established process to create a personalized financial strategy backed by the advice, tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And we'll partner together to help your strategy stay on track. Contact me toll-free today at 866-975-8655. Again, that's 866-975-8655. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hello and welcome to your Daily Detroit, sharing what to know and where to go in Southeast Michigan for another year. It is Thursday, January 2nd, 2025. I am Jer Stays, and Shianne Noserini, thank you so much for changing the rundown from 4 to 5, because I was just about to make that mistake.
You are absolutely welcome, Jer. I looked at our document and I said, it's not 2024 anymore, Jer.
I wonder how long I'm going to do that.
Well, we only had one take for this, and hallelujah. Because sometimes, guys, it takes quite a few takes before we remember that it's a new year.
Well, I'm so glad to see you, and I'm also so glad for all of our listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to have some fun today, because for a lot of people, we're still kind of in holiday mode. Like, I was pulling in the studio here at Tech Town, beautiful Tech Town in Detroit, Michigan, and like more than half the parking lot was empty.
Yeah.
It's kind of quiet around here. I've realized this, as much as I worked, I don't know, maybe this has changed. When I was a corporate guy, company man, it was at the company I was at, it was like, you are in. I feel like things have changed in the last few years.
I will say that usually the week between Christmas and New Year's was the week that my husband would go to work because there was nothing happening. So he was just basically was like just finishing up tasks for the year, but also wasn't being inundated with like a lot of like day-to-day work.
Use it as a time to catch up, which I did a bit, and we did for a bit, because we went to Decent Detroit.
We did.
And did our annual kind of get-together. If people don't know, like, Shianne, you are the producer of this show.
I am.
And we all work together as a tight little team. And so every year we try to do a reset. Be like, where are we? What are we doing? You know, we're doing more newsletters. We're doing all this stuff. But it's good to get in person because we're all so busy. We've got our heads down. So we went out to Decent Detroit, a place that recently opened right near the Grosse Pointe Border, just south of Alter on Kercheval. Nearby will be things like Post in the city of Detroit, or Lucky Coffee and Le Rouge Boulangerie in the park right there. Coriander Bookshop. There's a couple of coriander things over there. Anyway, what a fabulous time. This building was built in the 1920s. You and I are both from the east side.
We are.
Random fact, my mom and dad lived before I existed in the apartment building across the street. Take that for what you will. And I've seen this corner mostly vacant for a very long time.
Yeah, there's usually like things that will pop in and then pop right out.
Very quickly.
Yes.
But this seems to have some legs. The owner, Leo Olofsson, I had a chance to talk to. He's actually from Sweden, lives in Metro Detroit now, and he is involved in house music. He's like, you know what the thing is about this place? Like, you meet this guy, and do you know when like somebody's just automatically cool?
Yeah.
And they're not trying to be cool. They're not trying to they just are.
Yeah.
They're not trying to be over the top. Any of that is just like, oh, this is an interesting guy. And he's created an interesting space that I've been following on Instagram for months. I just went back and saw a post just like 22 weeks ago, which is a short time in these kind of developments.
It is.
It was a raw space, not even properly white boxed. And they have transformed this space, keeping the old charm and adding a great little coffee shop right there.
Yeah. I really liked this space. It was warm and welcoming.
They didn't take all of their furniture out of like the aggressive book.
No.
They didn't use the hipster starter set.
They didn't.
The furniture's beautiful and like it's modern, but like it's warm.
they had this like chandelier light in the front, and it was just so unique.
Oh, I want it for the studio.
Yeah.
We ever at a location where we can install that.
Yeah.
I love how the lights actually shine down on what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's
really
beautiful, beautiful. And great poster art.
cool. Mhm.
Really good. I thought we liked the coffee.
The coffee was really good. I had the peppermint mocha. I'm usually not a mocha fan, but for some reason, I was really feeling their holiday menu. And I was like, you know what? I'll give the peppermint mocha a shot. And I had it with oat milk, and it was delicious. You know how sometimes oat milk kind of has like a weird aftertaste?
Okay. Good oat milk doesn't.
Right.
The good stuff doesn't.
This did not have the weird aftertaste.
As I'm somebody who has to stick to that.
Right. So I thoroughly enjoyed my peppermint mocha.
We're going to put pictures up on Daily Detroit. If you sign up for our newsletter on dailydetroit.com, you will get these. Also put a link to that in the show notes because you're going to want to check this place out. This is obviously not sponsored in any way. It's just a place that we saw. We wanted to get out there. I was just so happy to see a place that in that old neighborhood cut, right? Like in that cut of like, you want this near you.
Yeah. We were sitting there and we were talking, and Jerry, you said, this kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Cups vibe.
Okay. So tell people.
Okay. So for those who don't know, Cappuccinos was our local coffee shop on Kercheval in Grosse Pointe Park back in the 90s and early 2000s. And it was this eclectic space where you could get coffee, and they had smoothies, and they had all kinds of stuff, and they'd have open mic nights, and they'd have...
And sometimes the vegan would cook the bacon.
Yes.
That went a little sideways sometimes.
Right.
But that was part of the charm.
Yes.
I'm not saying this has that same...
It does not have the same...
But it has that same welcoming vibe.
Yes, exactly. So it was a nice addition to that neighborhood.
I love when a space is well executed, but also I really respect, to close this out, somebody who gets in there with their hands and really wants to do it. Seems like talking to Leo really quick, he's got some big ideas for the space, which I'm really excited about. Here at Daily Detroit, our studio, we've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. So when somebody does that kind of like handmade but well executed, I have so much respect for it. So go check it out. Decent Detroit. I will put links to everything in the show notes, and don't forget to sign up for that newsletter. I saw this video over the holiday, Shianne.
Yeah.
And I was intrigued.
Tell me more, Jer.
Well, we both have a love of Detroit-style pizza.
We do, yes.
And I saw a Caribbean Detroit-style pizza that I cannot try, as it is in the Cayman Islands. We've not set up as a Cayman company. Maybe that's what we should do. Pull a full capitalism.
I mean, if we had the money, maybe. We're a small project, Jer.
We can't even afford a ticket to the Cayman Islands.
No.
But this guy has a food truck, Diego Smith, and he was really into food and saw that Detroit-style pizza was big on YouTube. Like he was researching it on YouTube, which I have seen the nation get interested in Detroit-style pizza. And he went back to the Cayman Islands after doing some stuff around, abroad and doing private chef work. I will link to this video from Munchies in the show notes. It's a really interesting little interview. But let's get to brass tacks.
Yeah.
First off, before I get into the ingredients, how do you feel about riffs on Detroit-style pizza? Because oftentimes it's like, what are the typical toppings? And then you see other places really push the limits with it. How do you feel about freestyle Detroit-style pizza?
I'm kind of torn because there are places like Pie Sci and Grandma Bob's and Michigan and Trumbull who do have different types of toppings on their Detroit-style pizza, right?
Grandma Bob's is excellent.
Yeah.
Michigan Trouble is excellent.
Pie Sci is excellent. And so is it the execution of the pizza that makes it Detroit style, or is it only the toppings? I mean, what I was looking at, he's using the pans. He's got the charred, crispy, cheesy bits on the corners, on the edges.
Is Detroit-style pizza the container or the totality of the thing?
Exactly.
I know some people would be like pepperoni or bust.
Right.
Or whatever traditional.
Must only have brick cheese.
Right.
where is the sauce and where are the toppings?
So a lot of times the toppings need to be below.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about some of the offerings. Now, he's got a standard pepperoni style. He puts the tomato sauce on top.
Okay.
Now, some of his more Cayman style. Seasoning pepper, Scotch bonnet pepper, and Cajun style beef. There's also a jerk chicken. How do you feel about Scotch bonnet? That's going to be a hot one.
It will be. It'll be hot. I mean, if there's cheese on it, that'll help with some of the heat. I mean, I'm not opposed to trying different types of flavors on my Detroit style pizza.
Can he like flash freeze it and like overnight it to Detroit? This guy, Diego Smith?
I don't know, but
Should we try to make something like it? Do we get engineer Randy involved?
possibly.
Because he engineers audio, alcohol, and food.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Is this a question for Karen Dybus, the author of Detroit Style Pizza?
We need to put up the bat signal or pepperoni signal, if you will. I want to know what you think. dailydetroit@gmail.com. What defines Detroit style pizza? And would you try a Scotch bonnet pepper, Cayman style beef pizza, a jerk chicken Detroit style pizza? And I wonder, is there one here? I haven't looked yet. I wonder, is there like the jerk chicken? I feel like that's something that would be, there's a possibility I could find that here.
I feel like I want to say I've seen something similar on like a pie side menu, but their menu changes, right? It's not always the same. It is a rotating menu. So maybe I have seen it in the past. Maybe we can reach out to our friends at Pie Sci and say, hey, do you actually have a jerk style chicken?
Well, let me know. dailydetroit@gmail.com. What is your definition? Does it have to have the purity of the toppings? Or is it about the container? Let me know, and I'll put a link in the show notes and in our newsletter. You have a closing to talk about.
I do have a closing to talk about, Jer. So in Berkley, there is a store called the Yellow Door Market. It's owned by the people who own Chasing Fireflies, which is like right down the street. So in downtown Berkeley on 12 Mile, you've got Chasing Fireflies and then Monger's Provision and then the Yellow Door Market. And it was just like a space for makers and artists to have booths to sell their wares.
And this is a place you've gone.
I've been going to this place since they opened, basically for 14 years. And I love it. But unfortunately, due to rising rental costs, they are going to have to close their doors. So the last day for the Yellow Door is January 18th. But what they said in their Facebook post when they announced the closure is that they're going to close the Yellow Door Market, but because they own the building that Chasing Fireflies is in, they've been there for 25 years this year.
So Chasing Fireflies is next door.
Is next door,
That's
right?
the next door store. Okay.
Right. So they own that building and they've been in that space for going on 25 years and it needs an upgrade, right? Like they need new floor, all the stuff. So they're going to move Chasing Fireflies after they close the Yellow Door. They're going to move Chasing Fireflies into the Yellow Door Market space for that time being. So that way they can do the renovations on Chasing Fireflies without closing the retail space. So while Yellow Door is closing by the 18th of January, you can still go shop in that space.
Are there deals to be had? I know that sounds cold, but are there deals to be had?
There are some deals to be had. It's up to each individual maker and artist, but there are sales between 10% to 50% off, depending on the artist.
And where will you find this in Berkeley?
So it's on 12 Mile in downtown Berkeley, right next to Monger's Provisions, basically.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because that's the Mongers that's staying around. In case,
Yes.
Because we didn't mention it. We were on holiday break.
We were.
The Mongers is no more in Midtown.
Right. The one on Cass.
The one on Cass, they've consolidated to one location.
Right.
So that's up in Berkeley. And, it's good to see like these local places find a place that they seem to be really doing well. And that seems to be downtown Berkeley.
It is. Yeah. So I'm sad to see the Yellow Door close, but I'm happy to know that Chasing Fireflies is staying open.
And like more than a decade is a heck of a run.
is.
Let's be honest about this. There's some closings where it's like grand opening, grand closing, and all these other things. But hats off to anybody who can make something go for 14 years. You know, sometimes things have an evolution.
Right. I do want to point out, if you're sad that the Makers Market is closing in Berkley, I do want to point out that there is actually another artist market just down the street on 12 Mile. It's called the Artsy Umbrella. Now, I've never actually been to this location. I've never been in there before, but I saw them post a comment on the Yellow Doors Facebook page when they made the announcement. And I was like, looking at their website, and I was like, I know that storefront because it used to be City Style way back in the day.
You love City Style because
they were one of the only places in Metro Detroit that you could buy Harvey seatbelt bags.
You were obsessed with those for a while.
I was obsessed with those.
So what is for those who don't know?
A bag made out of seatbelts.
I imagine they're durable.
They are very durable. I've had Harvey seatbelt bags for going on almost 20 years, and I still have them, and they're still holding up, and they have a lifelong warranty. And actually, I need to send in a strap for one of my bags because it finally broke. So anyway, the Artsy Umbrella is open. It's on 12 Mile. It's just down the street across the street from Chasing Fireflies.
Well, I know what you're going to have to do for the people, Shianne.
I'm going to have to go in there and check it out.
Right. For the people.
For the people.
For the people.
Right. I do this for you. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to your Daily Detroit. Thank you to our members on Patreon. We had a few join over the holiday. I really appreciate you. I need to get back to you with personal thank you notes. And of course, they'll have access to our member-only Discord. We're going to be releasing our conversations early to our Patreon members in 2025, as well as other specific new benefits. We're going to have I think we're working on coffee mugs.
Yes.
Because that was a huge request. We're also working on a trivia event with our friend of the show, Mickey Lyons, coming up. And so I think what we're going to do is a weekend day event, and then a happy hour midweek event on a regular basis. Those we've heard from people. Our get together in the morning was really popular.
It was.
But so we need to kind of do both because they kind of serve different groups.
Yes.
And I think it would be really fun to see all of you and really focus on community here in 2025 because, look, we're going to need to stick together. There's a lot going on in the world.
There is.
Think about our friends in New Orleans. We have some listeners in New Orleans.
We do.
You're going through it right now. I'm pulling for you. And, New Orleans in many ways is a sister city.
It is.
Anyway, with that, I'm Jer Stays.
And I'm Shianne Nasrini.
Thank you so much for listening. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit. Talk tomorrow.